Welcome, everybody. All right. Trickle on in, everybody. It's good to see you. Just letting everybody in from the waiting room. Happy Friday. This is going to be fun today. I've actually been excited for this all week. So today we're going to be doing a whole workshop on frequency fueled manifestation, which is something that I really like to geek out on because far too often we give our power to our fears instead of our faith and our conviction and our bigness. And as we step into this workshop today, we are going to learn how to give more power to our desires and our goals and all the things that we really want for our lives, our businesses, and our relationships. So really excited to see you guys all here today. Kind of going through my screen to see these beautiful faces. This is my favorite time. So good to be here with you all. All right, nice deep breath as we get started. I think we all sometimes forget to breathe. So let's start with that. All right. And for anybody who is not part of my world already or I'm not acquainted with or already working with, I'm Teresa Lear-Levine. I'm an EFT master practitioner, hypnotic communicator, ADHD entrepreneur, mom of 4 boys, and I'm your guide for the next hour. So drop a quick me in the chat if you are ready to render, release, and receive today. And tell me where you're from and perhaps what you're drinking. For any of you who come to my workshops regularly, you know I'm guilty of having multiple beverages. Won't tell you how many, and this time I might remember to ask you if you counted how many beverages I was drinking by the end of the workshop. So fun little game to keep you watching. And if you don't have a beverage, get yourself one. Doing EFT tapping like we'll be doing later is so much better when you're hydrated, and so is creative thinking. So want to make sure everybody has some hydration on board. Let me check the chat, which I will try to do throughout this and just be connected here. All right, Sarah's got her Coke Zero. Hey, BB, making a matcha latte. Love it. Let's see. Bindu's got some H2O. Ooh, basil seeds. I have not tried that combo yet. Maybe I will have to. Denise has got her coffee. Hello, Michigan. Faith from Houston. Good to see you, Faith. Kim's drinking some water. Hey, Leah. She's got a smoothie and some water and a coffee. That's my girl. Okay. Perfect. All right. Hey, Brooke, nice to see you. Newport, Rhode Island, drinking your water. And let's see. Ooh, standing on a vibration plate, Laura. That's awesome. And I had mine in my office, and then I realized I could not actually work and look at my computer and stand on the vibration plate. If anybody's figured out how to do that and make it work without getting dizzy or just feeling like nothing's quite right, let me know. All right, got Minnesota. Hey, Rachel from Washington State, some herbal tea and coffee. We got some water and chai going on with Faith. Hey, Dawn, Toronto, coffee and water. Jennifer, nice to see you. San Diego, lemon water. All right, we got so many awesome drink combinations. And Mindy says basil seeds help with the heat. Cool. Love it. Awesome. Thank you guys all for coming and sharing your Friday with me. And we're going to get started. So, why this topic? I felt really called to do this workshop today and build upon things that I've taught in the past, right? About a decade ago, I was brilliantly busy, we'll call it. Launches, late nights, running multiple businesses, early mornings, children who are much younger than they are now. It was kind of that jaw-clenching hustle time of my life. And I also had a lot of lack mindset, and that was dictating my outcomes. Kind of like I said when we first opened, too often we confirm the things that we're looking to do in our life, or we put them up against our fears instead of our faith. And that's kind of what happens with lack mindset, right? So my nervous system was shot. My goals felt like they were just so far away. This legacy that I wanted to create, things that I wanted to prove to myself, boxes to check, to-do lists to cross off, purpose to develop, fulfillment to feel, right? I made one counterintuitive pivot. Let's be honest, it was more like a counterintuitive baby step at first, followed by another, followed by another. Little wins compound, right? They add up to big wins. And I stopped obsessing over the how and what I felt hadn't worked or wasn't working. And I started intentionally aligning and elevating my frequency. And I will not lie, this was not easy at first. I am a natural born hustler. I'm an ADHD chaos creator, a to-do list driven, prove myself, conditioned, anxiety fueled, figure it outer. Okay, anybody else with me there? Anybody else operate in that same kind of way? Yeah. So, smart and knowing of the ways and the paths that I could take to accomplish things, but so often still stuck despite all of that. So it felt really strange, right? This dance with surrender, if you will, and this experiment with momentum. And, I often avoided that because, that whole stop, start, commit, disappear, go on a streak of doing, followed by a streak of undoing. How many of you have been there? You get started and then you just, who knows what happens, right? But in an optimistic moment, I recorded this very rustic audio on my phone, just kind of spewing out my dreams, my desires, my goals, started listening to it every morning as I got up in the morning, kind of brushing my teeth, listening to this audio. And I noticed some things. Some things created ease, some things actually created tension or even more anxiousness in my body. I noticed like some parts were hard to hear, but those other parts really landed easily. And I kind of felt like, I'm onto something here, right? And from there, I studied the nervous system, the subconscious mind, became an EFT master, a hypnotherapist. I read countless books on manifestation and goal achievement and mind-body connections, and all sorts of things that either supported or negated what I was going for. I still remember sharing a version of my vision, this kind of thing that I'd scripted out and recorded back on a retreat a while back when I was actually a health and fitness coach at the time. And it felt so vulnerable to share it. But when I look back on that version of my vision, I've accomplished every bit of it. And that's really cool to see as you iterate these season after season, quarter after quarter, however you like to look at time. The next house we moved into, the income goals, the certifications, the vacations, the things I imagined my family doing together, the relationship and communication upgrades, the habits that I wanted to adopt, the things I wanted to nurture and give back, all of it. And I've created new visions like this several times a year ever since. But the process has gotten a lot more refined, and that's kind of the place I am today to share it with you. So the process grew in sophistication, and even in its rustic form, though, I noticed in very short periods of time, things were happening and finding their way into my physical reality faster. That's all manifest means. I mean, whether you're like a little woo like me or you're very much more into the scientific, all it means to manifest is to bring something from an idea, seventh chakra, down to the root physical manifestation. Okay. That's kind of the simple definition there. But those things started to manifest faster. Business goals, behaviors, feelings, stuff. Whether it was, rooms getting finished in my house, home improvements getting done, relationships were shifting, gratitude was elevated, and I felt better than ever as I released the fear of doing less and leaned into more and like being more and guiding my days vibrationally. And I began the intentional practice of relaxed receiving. And I started to notice that within like approximately 90 days, it's not an exact science, but around that time of making any of my vision casting recordings, kind of what I've referred to them as over the years, things that I wanted or dreamed of or envisioned and desired for my health, my relationships, my abundance got accomplished in like half the time or even faster. It changed my relationship with time. It changed my relationship with miracles, changed my relationship with the universe, my family, and myself. So I know you have desires and visions inside of you that are just like waiting to be expressed and formed into physical reality. So whether you're an ADHD-wired entrepreneur, a high achiever who secretly is craving calm, or just a soulful strategist who loves a sprinkle of woo along with the neuroscience, this workshop is going to show you today how to render a crystal clear vision without any kind of perfection pressure, release attachment. We're going to do a nice quick EFT sequence that you can come back to time and time again, and then receive by syncing vision and vibration so that your body believes the future is now. Okay, we're going to keep it interactive. So whenever something lands, type it in the chat. Feel free to ask questions. If I have time, I will answer them. And that's the beauty of being live. Actually, I had somebody show up last month who sent me a message afterwards, and she was like, wow, in the world of pre-recorded webinars, I was not actually expected for, I wasn't expecting you to be there and actually teaching a class and answering questions. She's like, I really didn't quite know what to do. I'm going to have to take it all in when I watch the recording and you're not there anymore. But I'm here. So, use me and I will do my best to check in with the chat. It distracts me if I have it up totally. So I kind of do like I'm doing now. I'm pulling it up and just kind of seeing what's gotten dropped since I was here before and making sure I didn't miss anything, but I will check it from time to time. So yeah, that's the beauty of being live. So if you're ready to tune your frequency, let's dive in. I have this triple R method that I want to share with you. So we will start with that. So triple R, the first is, and that's the whole idea with this workshop: render, release, receive. So the first R is render, right? And before we dive into that, let me just share why I'm handing you this in the first place, okay? Because I spent way too many years on like a motivational merry-go-round, the vision boards, the affirmation post-it notes, like wallpaper, color-coded to-do lists, all the journals, and hustle plans really is what it boils down to. Yet, during those times when I was trying to do all of those things, the bank account, relationships, even my blood work, it just kind of kept arguing with the reality, right? That was much different than the desired outcome. So when I finally realized, what I finally realized, is that change sticks only when three things happen in order, okay? When you render a vision that your nervous system can recognize and feel safe with, or at least safer as you grow, because that's really important. When you release the grip of trying to control it all, because that control, it strangles the possibility, right? And it closes off the flow. All the trying to figure out how, all the trying to micromanage processes and figure out the steps yourself cuts off the flow. And then you receive in a state relaxed enough to actually pick up on the opportunities zooming past. Money, health, great relationships, love, all those things. And all of those things love a person, a woman, or a man who's relaxed. Those things love a relaxed woman. So that tidy sequence became the triple R method, okay? It's kind of like a Goldilocks just right sort of thing for ADHD brains that are craving structure and freedom, okay? So my intention today is simple. I want you to leave with a portable ritual or process that tunes every important area of your life, right? Health, wealth, relationships, the three biggies for everybody, without ruining your adrenals or demanding that you take a sabbatical, right? Or you burn out. So if you walk away knowing how to set clear frequency, tap out the clingy energy, and open the doors to the good stuff so that it can stroll in, I'm going to consider this one wildly successful hour, okay? And your future self will want to high five us both, all right? So let's dive into triple R here. And let's see, I've got some people in the, yeah, you know what, Camille? I'm not seeing slides at all. Let's see. There's not a whole lot to back up through. But Camille, are you able to fix the slides? All I see is like the Zoomtopia screen here. I'm assuming that's what everybody else is seeing too.
Yes, there's.
Let's just give her a minute to catch up here. Yeah, it's like it's stuck on a sign-in screen. If you need to stop share and reorganize things.
Teresa Dustin is screen sharing.
Oh, so
I could not.
okay. Is there a way to how did she get to
Right. For what?
How do we get her to not screen share? Okay, if anybody's techier than me, feel free to. There shouldn't even be like permissions on for other people to screen share. That's so wonky. All right, we got Camille back. We're good. All right. Sorry, and thank you. Okay. All right, good. All right. Hey, yep. Thanks, Karen. We're back at it. Okay. So R, render, right? That's where we're starting. And Camille, are there any slides that we need to back up through? Anything important that people missed? If there is, just feel free to go back through the earlier slides. And if not, then don't worry about it. It's pretty much just what I'm talking about. All right, first R is render. So think of this like your like mental camera. So if you were going from like 35 millimeter to HD, okay? Clarity kind of freaks some people out, especially my fellow ADHD entrepreneurs, because we love to like collect ideas, right? It's like we have all of these ideas and we collect them like my kids used to collect Pokemon cards, and we don't actually want to choose the one thing. But this isn't about perfect wording, okay? This is about like honest frequency, okay? Um, Translation is like as we go through this, like there's no grammar police, there's no like aesthetic police to this. It's just vibes that make you feel good, that kind of make you feel like your cells are dancing. That's what we're looking for. Okay. So think of it this way: clarity without action is like it's like classy daydreaming. Okay. So also think of it this way, because clarity with frantic action, like I see from so many people, that becomes like the whole like not sleeping enough, drinking a ton of espresso and trying to crank out a project on a tight deadline, that kind of thing. So what we're aiming for right now is clarity plus calm. Okay. So, and we're going to look at everything through what I call the HWR lens. That's health, wealth, and relationships. Okay. Those are the things that matter the most to pretty much every single person on the planet. All right. So think of health as the hardware upgrade for your body and your brain. Okay. And then think of wealth as the software patch for money, for mission, for work you love. All right. And then relationships, that's like the Wi-Fi signal that keeps everything connected, because nobody wants to see like buffering or the like no signal dinosaur on the screen, or be reminded of the sound that AOL used to make when I was trying desperately to connect. And I totally am dating myself there, but I do remember it and it was awful. So nobody wants that in their marriage or with their kids or with their team or their coworkers or their neighbors or their siblings, friends, you name it. Okay, so we're going to look at everything we talk about today through the lens of these three most important areas of your life. So let's start about talking about how we affirm things, because I have a love-hate relationship with affirmations and the gap that they tend to create instead of unifying us with our desired outcomes, right? So let's talk about why questions beat declarations like 9 times out of 10, if not more, okay? Affirmations sound great in theory, right? Probably most people I know at one point have had a deck of affirmation cards or some kind of list of affirmations or things that you read in the mirror in the morning or something like that. But if your statement is wildly out of sync with your lived reality, I know a lot of people kind of chanting the whole I am a millionaire kind of thing. If you're not actually a millionaire, then your brain's little fact checker is going to be throwing up a flag, incongruence, right? And that comes right from your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex, okay? That mismatch creates cognitive dissonance. You're saying X, but your bank app, well, that says something else. And then your nervous system actually interprets that as a threat, okay? The result there is that all you hear is your inner critic, and even the proof that you're checking in with screaming, yeah, sure, yeah, right, okay, yeah, you're a millionaire. And again, usually we're also confirming with our fears and not our faith in those instances. So you've just activated resistance instead of resonance, okay? So what we're going to talk a lot about, these subconscious cues, subconscious questions, okay? These things flip the script so that you can see things differently. So what I want to touch upon briefly is them, because they're an important part of getting your brain and your body on board with your goals. Okay. So why do subconscious questions work so well? Questions are what the brain responds to. Okay. Questions trigger interrogative self-talk, which research shows boosts intrinsic motivation and problem solving, which is huge. They wake up a part of our brain known as the RAS, the reticular activating system. And it's kind of like your inner Google, the RAS, okay? It sifts for matches like without the ego battle when it kind of gets activated. So we'll talk more about and kind of come back to in some different ways the RAS as we move along. Curiosity is rewarding. We ask a question, it piques curiosity, right? And it's rewarding. So a good question gives us this little dopamine hit and it pulls that prefrontal cortex online, okay? For planning, for pattern spotting, instead of kicking up like defensive counter arguments inside of your head. We all kind of go through that whole like internal battle of what's happening inside of our head. All right. So the bottom line here with this is that a question invites your brain to gather proof. Okay. A bold statement, like an affirmation that so many of us are familiar with, these I am statements, often invite the brain to argue. Okay. So let's look at some examples through the whole like HWR scenario and that lens. All right. The old affirmation, I am a millionaire, might be turned into a subconscious question like, why is it getting easier every month to enroll dream clients into 10K packages? Or something similar like that. This why is it? So now as you ask that question, instead of just stating the affirmation, the RAS starts highlighting things. Maybe it's an intro or a lead or a program feature or a pricing tweak or whatever. It's actually going to help you align with that outcome. Maybe even the time you could free up instead of arguing with you about it. Or if you look at a health affirmation, something like, I sleep like a baby. The question that might be more helpful might be something along the lines of, what would it take for my body to click into deep, steady sleep by 10 p.m.? And then you can kind of watch your brain like surface these different things that are helpful, like, I should dim the lights now, or maybe I should take some magnesium, or, you start to work on that late night screen habit that you didn't notice until you started to ask yourself the question, okay? These questions work around the clock too. It's beautiful. If you actually have these kind of programmed into the vision that you're using each day, the one time that you say it in the morning or listen to it or what have you, your brain's going to work around the clock looking for those answers to show you. So something like the affirmation of, my marriage, my relationship, my partnership is amazing. Maybe something like a question of, why is it so natural for us to laugh and reconnect each night? Would be more helpful for actually getting that result. Suddenly, as you ask a question like that, sitter recommendations or desire and energy to follow through on taking a walk together or going out on a date night, maybe a playful idea to text each other pops to the center of your awareness so much easier because your brain's looking for those answers. So just think of those subconscious cues as like Socratic coaching for your own brain. Okay, they remove that courtroom drama, the objections, and they send your inner self researcher on this like scavenger hunt for alignment, resonance. Okay, so a week or so ago in the school community, which I hope you all are members of, and if you're not, I'm going to give you all the information you need to join. It's a free community and it is jam-packed with all sorts of value and great resources. I put up this post and I asked, you to fast forward to the end of the year, which is only like 5 months, 4.5 months away, and to reflect and just kind of share a sentence, which is going to look more like an affirmation. And a few of the responses from the community came through, and I want to kind of go through a few of them, and I want to offer subconscious questions for those affirmations. So they're great affirmations, and they're worthy of being focused on, and they're worthy of the shifts that these different amazing women who left them in the community on the post want. So let's see the first one here from Jessica Dumont. She said, I wake up feeling healthy. So some questions that you could ask yourself if what you want is to wake up feeling healthy would be some things like, why is my body waking up feeling strong, balanced, and well-nourished each morning? Or what would it take for tomorrow's wake up to feel deeply healthy from the inside out? Or maybe even, why is it so natural for me to make evening choices that deliver a healthy morning? Since our nights do set us up for our mornings. And then Dawn Gordon commented on it also, and she said, I wake up feeling refreshed and revitalized. Everybody seems to want to wake up feeling a certain way. So there's some other questions that we could ask here, like, why is it getting easier every night to slip into sleep that leaves me refreshed and revitalized? Or how did I become someone who wakes up clear, hydrated, and ready to roll. There's a lot of different ways that we can put this. The whys, the hows, or the whats. What would it take for simple evening habits to give me spring in my step or energy at sunrise or whatever it is that you want? So there's ways to reframe that so that it's going to bring you those answers. And someone else had commented relationship wise that they found the love of their life. That was their contribution. And if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for love and relationships and things, some great questions that you could ask there would be things like, why am I so naturally magnetic to a secure, loving partner who cherishes me? Or what would it take for me to notice and nurture the relationship that truly aligns with my values? Those kind of things can be really helpful for things like that. And then Sarah Cook commented, money flows when I keep focused on growing the business and stay on brand. So for something like this, you might ask a question like, why does staying on brand make it effortless for ideal buyers to say yes every week? Or what would it take for my focus to lock onto the needle movers that grow revenue? Those kind of things can be really helpful. All right, let me just pop into the chat and see if everybody's kind of following along with me. Is this making sense to everybody? Is this helpful, reframing these things and seeing them in a different way? Thanks, Karen. All right. Yeah, absolutely, Wendy. What was the second relationship question? I don't really remember. But she was saying she found the love of her life. So I mean, I was just basically saying that, I mean, you could say like, how did I become the person who attracts and keeps healthy reciprocal love, or any of those kind of things? There'll be a replay. I don't remember exactly what I just spouted out. I'm sorry. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of ask the whys, the whats, the hows, or even yeah, there's a lot of those questions that can come through for that. And this is part of what I'm going to be doing in the VIP hour afterwards, is helping people really custom and fine tune these things. So, all right, so we went through what Sarah had, and then, you know, the thing with the subconscious questions is that you want to keep them believable and specific. Okay, time frame, behavior, audience. Okay, vague questions are going to fetch, what do you think? Vague results, right? Precise questions are going to turn that RAS that we talked about, that reticular activating system, into like a truffle pig sniffing out opportunities. Okay, there's a huge difference there. So yes, you can keep a few classic affirmations that you genuinely believe for yourself. But for the stretchy goals, the ones that like trigger the internal arguments or the self-doubt or that like inner eye roll, let subconscious questions lead, okay? They're gonna harmonize your nervous system, engage your executive brain, and make your environment start whispering and reflecting solutions back to you, okay? All right, so let's kind of, let's try a little exercise here. If you kind of grab a notebook, your notes app, old receipt, whatever's laying around and handy, okay? What we're gonna do is we're just going to take, where are we now? It's like 12:30. I wanna make sure we have plenty of time for everything. We're really just gonna take like 30 seconds or so for each one of these. And I'm gonna ask a question, and here's the first one. What simple shift would make your body feel vibrant 3 months from now? And you can write it down, not even in question form at first if you want, and we can always turn it into a question if you have trouble with it. But the idea there is just kind of spend the next 30 seconds and write down something, whether it's in question form or affirmation form, that would make your body feel vibrant 3 months from now. And if you want to share those things, you can. You can keep them to yourself too, either way. And then we'll move in to the next one. So the next one, that was health-based. Let's move into something wealth or work or business-based, okay? And that's going to be, what income pop or business win would make you grin and say, yeah, that's me? Like what would be a big, awesome business win for you or income change over the next 3 months? Take 30 seconds and scribe on that a bit. And then let's go to one more. The last one we're going to look at is relationship based. So, what upgrade in connection, partner, family, team, whatever, would light you up daily? Take 30 seconds or so and write on that. Should really have some background music. All right. You guys can always come back to this. You can give it whatever time you like to give it, but it really doesn't take very long. That's kind of the point here, to get clarity that really is going to serve you. So if anybody wants to share them, or if anybody needs help reframing something, you can drop it in the chat, and see what I can do here for you. But all right, the idea here is, a couple people actually just messaged me just directly, but somebody shared that they're looking for a 20K launch on the private message here. Awesome. I got your back. And yeah, if any of you want to share, the idea is that this is rendering, right? This is the first R, okay? And here's why this tiny little burst that we just created in the last couple of minutes matters, okay? The moment that you wrote or typed those words, the RAS leaned in and said, okay, we're prioritizing that now. And from here on out, it's going to scan things, whether it's a podcast you're listening to, a TikTok video, a passing conversation, all those different things for evidence that matches your vision, your desire, your goal. Okay. It's like an obsessively loyal yellow lab, like my Mowgli. You just kind of throw the stick of whatever it is you want, that 20K launch, some spontaneous date nights, whatever, and it's going to keep fetching those things that line up with that for you. Okay, until you kind of pat it on its head and say, yeah, you did that. Let's see. Karen's asking to go back a slide. I think the last slide had all the questions on it. Camille, if you can just back up one slide and stick it there for a second. Feel free to like take a screenshot or whatever, and the replay will be up later on today. So how does that 90-second scribble you just did answering those questions beat like a color-coded spreadsheet or whatever that can sometimes take you hours to put together? What it is it's neuroscience with like a little dash of quantum glitter, right? You set a clear frequency and then three big systems light up, okay? There's the RAS that we already talked about, okay? That's deciding what gets to break through the noise, okay? You give it that precise question. Why is it getting easier to enroll 3 pay in full clients this month? And it starts highlighting, matching people, ideas, opportunities, like neon arrows, okay? All of a sudden you see like a DM that you'd usually ignore, or a podcast pitch or a speaking gig, and then it feels obvious, right? Friend of a friend intro. It's not magic. It's selective attention doing its job. Let me go back to the prefrontal cortex also lighting up. That's kind of like, it's like a combination of like your GPS system and an editor, okay? This is your executive brain, focus, planning, impulse control. When you render a specific vision, the PFC, the prefrontal cortex, sets the destination and then it suppresses distractions that don't match it, okay? We need that. And that boosts working memory and gets you kind of, so it's like that one next step, right? That we're always kind of looking for, stays on the front burner. instead of getting buried under like all those little shiny objects and those other ideas that start popping through. Okay. So that translates into like less hopping around on the tabs on the computer, more traction in what you're actually getting done. And then dopamine, right? Dopamine drip is equals kind of tiny rewards, and that can add into big momentum. Okay. Each little like micro match your brain notices triggers a little bit of dopamine. That reward signal says, do more of this. And it trains your brain to keep scanning for that next like breadcrumb. Okay. And it's reinforcement learning for grown-ups. Okay. It's the same kind of stuff that we would like do with our little kids, and we need it too. So it adds up. Small wins compound into consistent action without having to have that like white knuckle willpower. Okay. We don't have to push our way through to all of these things that we are working towards in our life, our business, our relationships. Okay. So layer on to that the body's like all clear system from your vagus nerve. All right. The vagus nerve is your body's like all clear line, right? It's the main highway of the parasympathetic system, which sends safety signals from the body to the brain. Okay. When our vagal tone is high, our heart rate variability rises, our cortisol drops, our digestion and our social engagement switch on. And then, like the prefrontal cortex that we talked about, the RAS that we talked about, can actually do their job. Okay. So your focus widens and the opportunities can pop up. Okay. So this kind of quick release tapping that we're going to do soon nudges this circuit. Okay. Via skin receptors and like the slower exhales that kind of come from doing this so that your nervous system feels safe enough. I always say kind of safe enough, because if we're looking to feel completely safe in whatever we're moving towards, we're likely to never get there. We just need to feel safe enough to take the next step. Okay. Safe enough to stop that kind of like firefighting and emergency management and start receiving. Okay. A safer feeling body, a clearer mind, better results. Okay. So let's tour that chemistry for just a minute, and then we'll slide into doing the tapping. Okay. So I need another drink. All right. Everybody with me so far? I'll check the chat real quick. Um, Let's see. Melanie asked, how many questions should we be asking at a time? Such a great combination, questions and EFT tapping. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, there's no slides being shared right now. There's some, but we're going in and out of slides. I'll see your faces sometimes. Sometimes there's something worth reading. Sometimes there's not. Karen, oh my God, this is serious game changing for this late diagnosed ADHDer. I was late diagnosed too. If you guys are diagnosed, I'd love to hear what age you were diagnosed. If you want to drop that in the chat, always fun. I was diagnosed at 42. So no doubt that it was like around since very young, but yeah. So Wendy, did you intend to raise your hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say something?
If you've got the time to answer it, what I noticed, these questions are really amazing. The three, I know it's back a little bit, but I found that unless I consciously let go of the question, it's like my intellect wants to solve it.
Yeah.
So maybe
I haven't gotten to read it yet. So
oh,
let's
all right.
we'll keep plugging and we'll get through the R's, and hopefully that will kind of sort of answer that. And I know you're coming to VIP for the next hour too, so we can also go deeper there also that we might not have time for in this hour. But that is a great question, because yeah, if we can't release and surrender and kind of let go of the attachment to the outcome, then it's really hard to receive. So awesome question. Thank you for asking it. Okay, so we're going to kind of like peek under the hood of this frequency talk so that your logical brain doesn't heckle the woo parts of this. Okay. Curiosity is kind of mandatory here. All right. So we're first looking again at, because we're looking at science and energy now, right? So back to that RAS, because it's super important, and we need to go a little bit deeper on that. It's kind of like it's part concierge and part spam filter. Okay. And it's kind of also like the Instagram Explore page in like one cute little brainstem bundle. All right. So you pose a subconscious question, like any of the ones we've talked about so far, like why is it suddenly so easy to wake up energized? And then the RAS flags anything that might be the answer. Okay. Whether that's podcast clip on being exposed to morning light, or your coworker raving about some supplement that has helped them, or maybe it's like a coupon for blackout curtains, or who knows. Like, it's not magic, it's selective attention on steroids. And in this day and age, like, let's all be honest too, it might be a little bit of your phone listening to you and some targeted ads, but it doesn't explain it all. Okay. Feed the RAS some clarity and it's going to hunt evidence. And it's going to do it like while you brush your teeth, while you sleep, no extra effort or hours required. So it's like, why not put that to work for you? Okay. And then we need to look at like polyvagal tone and talk about that, the vagus nerve a little bit more, because that's kind of like your body-wide Wi-Fi. Okay. Like your Ethernet cable. Strong signal is going to be like calm, creativity, clarity, confidence, collaboration, all the things that I help people with for the most part in like my Becoming More You program. Clear, calm, confident. It's like all the stuff you got to nail to be able to move forward and do the things. Weak signal is going to be kind of like the panic scrolling, the self-doubt, distractible, that buffering thing. So our quick EFT release round that we're going to do is basically a bit of a vagus reboot. You could consider it that way. Kind of like switching airplane mode on and off like we do, so that your like system believes that the good stuff is able to load. Okay. So the translation, I guess, here is like you act from clear power, calm power, and focus, and smooth follow through. And you get wins that land without the drag when you're in that state. Okay. And then your system resonates with the idea that it's safe to succeed. And a lot of people don't consider that, but a lot of us have not been made to feel that it's safe to have the success that we want. And once we feel that, decisions get so much simpler, timing improves, results accelerate. Okay. And then from there, those aligned opportunities become so freaking obvious. Okay. You have the bandwidth to say yes without the adrenaline hangover. Okay. When somebody decides to invest in working with me, and I choose to work with them also, the results of this are what usually helps them achieve their goals so much faster, because they start showing up resourced and not reactive. So things start converting, workouts happen, conversations go better, and it all like leads and ripples to the bigger things and the goals. Okay. So like less push, more pull, outcomes closer. All right. And then we look at dopamine and we look at like beta endorphins. Okay. And that's when we slide into receive. Okay. So your brain drips dopamine plus a dash of like beta endorphins. Okay. It's like an internal Kickstarter. And if you look at it that way, it's like it's funding motivation before the external result. Okay. So chemicals spark behavior. Behavior confirms the chemicals. So for example, you can create upstream momentum without caffeine dependence. Okay. The things that you used to really like have to push against. And let's look at why this matters again through that whole HWR lens. So you start stacking up those systems, then you can kind of like watch every one of those zones start to pop. All right. And so with health, you're going to notice things like, it's doing it for me right now. Like your RAS is going to notice hydration cues. Your vagus nerve is going to keep your inflammation down. Okay. When it comes to wealth, business, calm tone lets you pitch on a sales call without desperate energy, lets you nail an interview. And that RAS is going to spot aligned deals, aligned opportunities. Okay. And then when it comes to our relationships, better nerve tone is going to allow you to have more eye contact, more empathy, and so many less like petty fights or text arguments or instigations, all that kind of stuff. Okay. There's a lot of ways that starts to add up. Cool. Um, I want to talk now about turning this science into felt experience. Okay. Let's kind of feel through this. This is what I call the enact method. Okay. So this is like smuggling a whole neuroscience experiment into like a guided daydream so that you can like run it anywhere. Desktop, carpool line, bathroom, whatever your quiet place is. Okay. So here's how we roll with this one, right? E is engage the senses. Okay. Your brain believes what your senses feed it. So we start by turning on smell, color, sound, temperature. Is the air salty, like the ocean? Do you hear applause? Is it the striped cha-ching sound? Is it your kids laugh in the next room? More of those sensory pixels that you add in, the more real this becomes in your nervous system, okay? The N, notice the scene, okay? Zoom out like a director. Where are you? Are you at your standing desk? Are you standing on the TEDx dot? Are you in your sunlit kitchen drinking a green smoothie? Who's with you? Is it a client shaking your hand? Is it your partner telling you how proud they are of you? Is it your VA messaging you that you've just sold out? Give your brain coordinates so that your RAS knows what to look for later. Okay? A, act it out. Okay? Tiny imagined movements light up the motor cortex almost like the real thing. Okay? See your fingers, type in the invoice. See your hand signing a book, your body stepping onto a stage, your thumb tapping publish on a post that's super important to you. And those you serve. Micro motions wire doing pathways so that your body says, we do this now. Okay? And there's so many examples of this that like people who have been wildly successful do this all the time. Michael Phelps visualized every lap he swam of a race down to the water splashes before he broke 39 friggin' world records. Okay. Jim Carrey wrote himself that $10 million check for acting services rendered, dated it 5 years out, kept it in his wallet. Dumb and Dumber cashed it almost to the day. NASA has rookie astronauts that rehearse complex dockings entirely in VR. Brain scans show their motor cortex lights up exactly as if they had flown the craft. Okay? My client Grace rewired a lifetime of like, why bother? Decision-making fears that were supported by a highly customized 6-minute vision that I helped her create. We set it to binaural beats at one of our first sessions working together in the Becoming More You program. And within 90 days of implementing it, listening to it, we had to create a new track because so much of what we programmed into her first one had already come to fruition. Like being fully booked in her business, despite raising her rates 30%. Like planning a trip to take her elderly mom back to her home in Italy while she was still able-bodied enough to enjoy it. And finally having regular open communication about money with her husband, as well as regular date nights. It was time to reshape the clay and recreate her vision from a new set point. It happens so fast when you get clear, okay? So let's make you the next bullet point here. Let's go to C. And I'm noticing we've got like 9 minutes left. We might go a few minutes over, guys. I have jam-packed this again with a lot more than time permits, but we'll get as much in as we can. So clock time, okay? Let 60 seconds feel like 60 seconds. No fast forward. Olympians rehearse like full routines in real time because it builds pattern accuracy, okay? When you let the scene unfold at its natural pace, your brain stamps it as plausible instead of fantasy, okay? So don't rush it. And then T, turn up the feeling. This is the fuel, okay? Find the emotion that matches the scene. Is it relief? Is it pride? Is it grounded confidence? Is it playful joy? Let it spread in your chest. Let it spread in your belly. This is the T in enact. Camille, if you can move the slide forward. And put it together, and enact is going to tell your nervous system, like, we're already living this. This is the frequency of the wish fulfilled, which is the most important thing that most people miss when they're manifesting, okay? And the nervous system loves consistency. So it starts nudging your attention, your choices, and your tone to line up with what you just rehearsed. Okay? So do a quick run now. Okay? Think of a dream scenario of yours. Comfy posture, drop your shoulders, take a slow inhale. Exhale. All right, so engage. Add in like one smell, add in one sound, a taste, whatever aligns with the dream that you're thinking of. Add in something engaging to the senses. And then notice, place yourself. Where are you? Who's there? Act. Add in a tiny motion, whether that's pressing send on the email, shaking a hand, stepping onto that TEDx dot, whatever that thing is, add a motion. Then add in the clock. Let the next 20 seconds play out naturally. And turn it up. Find that feeling. Anchor it. Already mine. Okay? And then if your eyes are closed, open them and you're ready. That's an act, okay? Use it in 60 to 120 seconds anytime you want your system to remember who you're becoming, okay? So now I got to go into like the release. Why detach, right? Like you feel that shift that just happened right now? Your nervous system just got a new set of coordinates, okay? Questions are great. We've gone over those, but attachment to the outcome is kryptonite. This is what Wendy was asking about. For most of us, this is where we lose it, okay? So let's name what's going on when we cling, okay? Why do we attach? Hungry for control, right? ADHD brains love certainty. When we can't predict how or when something will happen, the amygdala flags threat, cortisol rises, and the prefrontal cortex, for planning and intuition, goes dim, okay? Then we have kind of like wanting versus liking, okay? Dopamine fuels wanting more than having. So we get hooked on the chase and then we panic when we're not chasing, all right? And then we have scarcity loops. So past disappointments train the RAS to scan for danger. Well, what if it doesn't work again? You know, narrowing your perception so that you actually miss real opportunities. We love our stories, okay? In ACIM, A Course in Miracles speak, the ego's favorite hobby is storytelling. But projection makes perception, okay? And then when that happens, when projection makes our perception, then we binge our own drama and we call it the truth. We cling to these plots like I'm behind or it never works for me. And surprise, guess what? Universe keeps renewing that series, right? So the fix is to choose again here, okay? Hand that script to your inner editor, okay? Swap fear for peace, and then watch that change. New story, same you. Less drama, more miracles. Okay? Super duper important. Okay? I see your comment, Karen. I don't have time to go over anything. I've still got like EFT tapping and some other great stuff to share with you and a few minutes left. So we're going to have to go back to the replay for that stuff. Identity stakes are also a big part of this. If the result equals the proof that you're worthy or smart or lovable, then the stakes feel like they're life or death. Okay? It fuses self-worth to a single outcome. It's not a good place to be. Okay? So here's why like release and surrender helps. Okay? And why this isn't like giving up. A lot of people get that confused when they think about surrender. So why release? Okay? When the body gets that safe either way signal, then you pop back into the calm and connected state, the ventral vagal state. the prefrontal cortex comes online, the RAS widens its filter, and then dopamine shifts from anxious craving into steady motivation. Okay, you see more options, you choose better moves, and ironically, you get there faster. Okay, so let's get something straight. Like surrender or detachment is not doing nothing. Okay, desire sets direction. Detachment drops the death grip on timing and the route or the how to get there. And then action becomes cleaner without that desperation static, that clinginess. Okay. So, like in practice, detachment looks like preference, not prerequisite. Okay. For the example that someone messaged me when we were sharing the things we were looking to have happen, the 20K launch. I'd love to have this launch hit 20K. I'm okay as I build to it. Nervous system exhales. Okay. The other way this is really helpful is like things like this or better. Like when you're affirming or asking a subconscious question about something, ask for what you want and keep space for a better fit version to arrive. Okay. And then you need lead measures over outcomes. Okay. If the goal has to do perhaps with making more money, maybe you need to schedule those action items that are actually going to get you there. Maybe it's a few reach outs a day or a certain amount of interviews each week. Maybe it's becoming better at marketing or networking or collaborating with people who are already making the kind of money that you desire, doing things like you want to be doing. Okay. Put the measures in place and then let revenue be the lag measure. Okay. And then kind of having like a 2-track focus. Okay. You becoming the person while you pursue the thing. Okay. Releasing the how, owning the who. This is so much of what I help people do in the Becoming More You program. So think about, who do I need to become in order to fill in the blank? Okay. And then some kind of a micro ritual to unclutch. Okay. Opening your palms, a slow exhale, quick subconscious question, hey, what would it take for the next aligned step to be obvious? Or to trust my feelings of alignment and then act on them. Take that step. Okay. There's so many paths that you're not even considering that all lead to your goal or something better. So don't limit yourself. Okay. All right. So I want to do this EFT. I want to make sure, because we're on the hour, that I share with you guys the important stuff that I would normally share at the end. And then we'll go back, we'll do the EFT, and we'll work on the neuroenergetic kind of backing of all of this. And then we're going to shift into the VIP session. So I want to, okay. I want to share with you guys how to find me after this if you need to, and all of that. So Camille, I don't know if you can go ahead in the slides to like my school and my Instagram slides, just to make sure that people have that information, because I'm sure there's some people that need to leave on the hour and can't stay longer. And yeah, so if you're able to share that, that would be great. Because you can find me on school. If you're not already a member of the community, I would love to welcome you there. Totally free community, jam-packed with amazing resources. I always say I aim for the resources in my community to be better than the last like 4-figure program you paid for, and for my workshops to be jam-packed with value too, which is why we're over the hour. So you can join me there. If you're not already there, the instructions are there. You go to the About page, type it in, find the Becoming More Me community, join, totally free. You can also find me on Instagram. My handle there is @TeresaLearLevine. And those are great places to connect with me. You can always send me a DM there and everything else. Well, we haven't finished the workshop yet. What you've tasted here kind of in this first hour here is all about what happens when vision and vibration and our senses sync. Okay, it's all really good stuff. And even though we haven't done the EFT yet, I know you can already feel from just doing that enact sequence kind of a change in your system. So this session here serves to kind of light the spark. But we all know that, Friday momentum can fade by Monday without reinforcement. So what I'm going to share is intended to kind of keep that frequency humming along. So if you want that baked into your daily life, Camille, I'll need you to keep sharing there, and help accelerate that manifestation of your dreams and your goals, here's how we're going to kind of keep that momentum rolling. I have a couple of spots left in the VIP upgrade for those of you that want to create an amazing process for yourself in a kind of done with you accelerator. It's happening right after this workshop, and we're going to roll into it right after this. So you could have a very detailed vision that accelerates your manifestation and goals completed today. Okay. And that's the best way to take advantage of your momentum now. And it sure beats procrastination and perfectionism that can really hold us when we wait, right? So right after we're done this, we're going to meet in another Zoom room, and you're going to get a separate link for that. We'll actually share it here. And as long as I've confirmed that you've joined, you'll be able to join that. And we'll go over the nitty gritty goodness of creating vision casting process that is like just for you. Okay. That's going to provide immediate momentum, be able to jump into that small group session and not procrastinate, not overthink. Okay. I'll walk you through the whole like full spectrum blueprint that we obviously don't have time to go through in this hour since it's already up. And I will teach you those 6 zones of creation to dial in on our practice, to show you how to link what you want to your subconscious mind in ways that get it working in your favor around the clock. And then we're going to craft a personalized vision that your subconscious responds to right there on the call. Okay. And I'll teach you my simple technique to turn that script into a daily frequency track, not like another to-do list. Okay. And I'll share the whole process that I use and repeat every quarter with you so that you can use it over and over again as well. And then you'll leave with everything that you need for your finished product, as well as the VIP workbook, the VIP session replay, all of the guidelines. There's a whole awesome like document that you get to edit and make your own. So that you can upgrade and do it time and time again as you manifest bigger goals, because this process is endless and you'll want to maximize how you leverage it to support making your dreams come true. Okay. You'll get lifetime access to this workshop, as well as so that you can, reinstall the frequencies that we're dialing in on today, and the knowledge. And then the next upgrade for VIPs also gives you a $250 credit towards enrollment in the Becoming More You program. But the VIP upgrade is only $47. I only have a few more spots left in it. So if anybody wants to jump on that, I will have Camille put the link for that in the Zoom chat here. And then as we finish, you'll have time to think about if that's right for you or not. VIPs are also given the opportunity to add on a one-on-one with me to fine-tune their vision and get input on the edits specifically for them, and then have their finished high-frequency recording of their magnetic vision set to binaural beats, and also receive all of my targeted suggestions for the nervous system and subconscious work that would get them the most breakthroughs out of focusing on to make the biggest strides with what they want to bring into physical reality. But that's only available once you sign up for the $47 upgrade VIP. Okay. And then also, if the vision casting focus is helpful for you, but you're thinking that you might need something broader or deeper, my fall cohort of the Becoming More You program is open for enrollment now. And while it is also almost booked without me even advertising it, this is the first time I'm mentioning it, we still have a few spots left. And it is all about bringing your energy back into the present where you can actually use it, creating that real calm, clarity, and confidence that serves you. We go way beyond vision work, okay? Whether it's resolving past traumas, easing anxiety about the future, practical business coaching, whatever else is holding you back from your next level, that's getting covered in the Becoming More You program. So if you're curious and you want to learn more, all you need to do is you can just direct message me in here or in the regular chat, just drop the word interested. And if you're watching this later and the replay, just send me a quick message saying that you want the details, and I will reach out because I'm definitely excited to see where this journey is going for you. So let's go now that I've kind of been able to give you the information that's important here that we would normally do when we wrap up. Let's go back into the release segment that we were working on. And let's see, we were talking about detachment, and now we're going to roll into the EFT, okay? So in brain science terms, wanting sets that RAS to spot your synchronicities, right? Needing floods you with cortisol, all right? It shrinks the prefrontal cortex and it like literally blinds you to opportunities. So our job right now is to slide out of like steering wheel death grip into that relaxed abundance and receiving. Okay. So quick EFT round. I know many of you have done EFT with me. If you're new, just mirror me. I'll tap a spot and say a thing. You're going to say it back. If someone would be willing to unmute and mirror me, that way we can keep pace. I will happily take volunteers. You can raise a hand. I could pick somebody. Um, and yeah, before we start, you guys just need to Faith, awesome, you're it. First hand up. So yeah, if you want to unmute, um, I'm just gonna have you mirror me as we go through this round, and that would be fabulous. And if you're able to put your camera on too, that would be doubly wonderful. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is rate kind of this clutch factor that we have, right? On whatever it is that we're trying to achieve. Okay. So if we're rating that on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 is like, oh, it's easy and, just totally open to it and receiving. And 10 is that like white knuckle grip where you feel like you just can't let go of like all the how and the control and everything else. Okay. So just drop your number in the chat as a starting point, and then we will start tapping. This is always helpful too. And just try to remember your number also, because when we finish, it's really helpful if you can just write like where you were and then where you ended up, because I can't scan through all of them and then all the other things and try to match everybody up. So remember where you were at the beginning, at the end. Tell me like if it was like I'm a 7 and I went to a 2 or whatever.
Can you just give that one more time? Like
Yeah,
the question.
absolutely. We're just kind of rating like how clingy and needy and clutchy you are on your like desired outcome or your goal. Okay. Whereas like a 0 would be totally open to receiving. There's no like kind of death grip on it or need to control it. And 10 is that like white knuckle, can't let go or surrender kind of grip on it. Okay. Hopefully that helps clarify. And then if Faith is ready, we are going to start tapping. So just repeat after me. And all of you, as long as you're not in a place where you can't say anything out loud, say this out loud. You're all on mute. Emphasize things. If you want to change words to make things more specific to what you're dealing with or feeling, please do. EFT loves specificity. Okay. Deep breath to start. And then repeat after me. Even though part of me needs this vision materialized already.
Even though part of me needs this vision materialized already.
To prove I'm enough.
To prove I'm enough.
I'm open to feeling safer as I go.
I'm open to feeling safer as I go.
Even though I'm terrified, nothing happens unless I push.
Even though I'm terrified, nothing happens if I don't push. Yeah.
Unless I push. Yeah, perfect. That's
Unless
fine.
I push. Yeah.
Or unless I see proof.
Unless I see proof.
I choose a new pattern of relaxed receiving.
I choose a new pattern of relaxed receiving.
Even though my brain equates hustle and doing more with worth.
Even though my brain equates hustle and doing way more with worth.
I'm willing to amplify the feeling
I'm willing to amplify the feeling
that I'm already worthy right now.
that I'm already worthy right now.
Right, come on through, starting on the top of the head. Oh, this tight grip.
This tight grip.
The pressure to make it happen.
The pressure to make it happen.
It's like cortisol is on speed dial.
Cortisol's on 1000 and a speed dial. Yes.
And my nervous system seems to think struggle equals safety.
My nervous system seems to think struggle equals safety.
What if ease could be safe too?
What if ease could be safe too?
What if success can arrive while I breathe?
What if success can arrive while I breathe?
Releasing the need.
Releasing the need.
Keeping the desire.
Keeping the desire. Can you move your mic or just scooch a little? Like, are you right at your bra line? Where are you tapping?
I'm right at my collarbone. I'm sorry. I am right behind my mic. And then we're heading to the bra line on the side. So good question.
Okay.
Letting the
So
universe
like right on your collarbone? Yeah.
No, right now for the arm.
Okay.
Yeah. Letting the universe drive.
Letting the universe drive.
Why is it suddenly safer to relax?
Why is it suddenly safer to relax?
Why does my body love this lighter feeling?
Why does my body love this lighter feeling?
What would it take for opportunities to find me?
What would it take for opportunities to find me?
And to want without clinging.
And to want without clinging.
Act without panic.
Act without panic.
My vision is rendered.
My vision is rendered.
The GPS is set.
The GPS is set.
Time to let cruise control kick in.
Time to let cruise control kick in.
I surrender the route
I surrender the route
and allow myself to coast
and allow myself to coast
and enjoy the ride.
and enjoy the ride.
Gas pedal and brakes as appropriate.
Gas pedal and brakes as appropriate.
Open palms, open heart.
Open palms, open heart.
Relaxed abundance feels delicious.
Relaxed abundance feels delicious.
My nervous system softens into possibility.
My nervous system softens into possibility.
Dopamine up, cortisol down.
Dopamine up, cortisol down.
I choose effortless alignment now.
I choose effortless alignment now.
Success can be gentle,
Success can be gentle,
and I'm ready to receive.
and I'm ready to receive.
I can feel what it's like already,
I can feel what it's like already,
and I'm aligning with that.
and I'm aligning with that.
And so it is.
And so it is.
All right. Thank you for helping me with that, Faith. Take a deep breath, everybody. Big exhale. Maybe shake out your hands or stretch. Did I have anybody with a good yawn during that one? I always love the yawners. It's always energy moving. All right. Beautiful. Check in now with that first number, where you were and where you went to. From that higher number of that white knuckle grip and that can't let go, perhaps maybe a lower number. Some people go up though, and that's okay too. So where you were and where you are now. Present moment being the only place that actually matters and the only feeling that matters. Good, we've got some nice drops. Yeah, 10 to a 3 for Laura. Rachel's down to a 2. I'm not sure where some of you are to begin with, but Teresa testing yawn, yawn, yawn. Good, good. It's energetic release. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Melanie's down to a 4. Rachel's down to a 2. Yeah. Wendy, 8 to a 4. This is great. Awesome job, guys. Awesome job. 10 to a 2 for Vicky. Karen May almost cut it in half there. 9 to a 5. I'm gonna be having a Dolly Parton song in my head now. Ashley, a 10 to a 5. You did cut it in half. Perfect. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So whether your shift was big or small, just notice how the shift widens your creative radar. Okay, just like check in with yourself a little bit here. That's the polyvagal relaxed abundance loop that we kind of teased in a little bit earlier. Okay, safety comes, then we go to dopamine rising, wider perception, serendipity. So just keep tapping on any residue later, all right? And in the replay, we'll have the timestamps. You can come back to this tapping round, do it again, okay? So now that we've unclutched, let's take a quick look before we wrap up at what actually happens in your brain-body system when you stay or are able to return to this surrendered state. Okay, so a little neuroenergetic backing mini lesson to honor the time that we have already gone over. And thank you to all of you who are able to stay and who have stayed. So yeah, that spaciousness after doing just a few minutes of like targeted tapping, right? You feel it? It's like somebody kind of like loosened like a corset on your nervous system. And our nervous system is like a container, right? Tapping expands that container. It increases our resilience, our responsiveness versus reactiveness. Okay. So let's geek out briefly on why that lightness and that space we've created is like pure rocket fuel for manifestation. Okay. So there's 3 types of nervous system zones on what Dr. Stephen Porges calls the polyvagal ladder in polyvagal theory. Okay. The first is dorsal shutdown. Okay, it's like a sloth on NyQuil. Okay, binge scrolling, freezing, flatlining creativity. All right. Then we have sympathetic overdrive. That's the classic ADHD hustle. I know y'all are familiar with it. Okay, heart racing, inbox pinging, brain playing pinball at 3:30 in the morning. You do a lot, you receive very little. There's not much payoff for all of the non-stoppiness. All right. Yeah, sloth on NyQuil. Didn't even know there was a name for that, what I was doing. Yep. Yep, that's what it is, Melanie. That's what I call it, at least. So that little tapping round, it's a nudge up the ladder, so to speak, into ventral. Okay. And that safer feeling body, a more open mind, wider perceptual field. I call that like relaxed abundance zone. Okay. And I always say to myself, like, relax, woman. Like, relaxation is magnetic. Money loves a relaxed woman or man, okay? Because results show up when the tension of your body makes way to the openness and receiving that can occur, okay? And this is modeled in so many other areas of our life, like sex. We don't have time for that today. So we've got to kind of like talk brain chemical reactions, particularly dopamine for a minute, how that relates to detaching, okay? So dopamine spikes when we feel both agency and safety, okay? Sarah said I've got a headache anyway. Oh, I love you guys. And I could do a whole workshop on how sex comes into all of this. And I should probably do that. I would love that. I would geek out on that. Dopamine spikes when we feel agency and safety. Okay. So think of dopamine as the brain's like, this is worth doing signal. Okay. Agency is I can influence this. Safety is I won't get punished for trying. Okay. When those two fire together, the brain releases just enough dopamine to light up that prefrontal cortex, which is like waking up the brain's CEO. Your planning, your focus, your intuition, your pattern spotting all come online without tipping you into stress chemistry. Okay. Get clean motivation, steady pursuit, better decisions, less second guessing. All right. And if you only have agency without safety, you get pushy hustle. Dopamine mixed with cortisol, tunnel vision, and burnout, okay? If you have safety without agency, then it's like cozy stagnation, calm but no traction, all right? The magic is in the blend. I can move the needle and it's okay to succeed or learn on the way, okay? So currently, we're in that beautiful post-tapping place. Your system has that safe either way signal online. Safety plus agency pair up, your brain flips another powerful switch. The RAS, that built-in search engine and highlighter, retunes its filter, okay? And you know how you learn like a new concept and then you hear about it everywhere? Or you decide like, I don't know, like you want a new mattress and then every option starts to present itself? That's like the RAS doing its job. You'll probably like hear some of the things that we learned today that piqued your interest coming through on Instagram Reels or ads on the radio or from one of your friends in conversation. Notice, pay attention, because you set this cascade in motion today. Dopamine up, prefrontal cortex on, RAS widens. And with that wider filter, you start noticing the opportunity packed like emails or, you know, something from a joint venture partner or whatever that you'd normally otherwise skim past. Okay? Perhaps it's an ancient invoice that you forgot to send, cash in on. Your world did not change in a second. Your filter did. Okay? So let's capitalize on that open filter and, in your notes, just like ask yourself, like, what's something that you'd like some more clarity on or next steps for? And just, you can even just like write, like, show me one aligned next step for insert your goal today. Okay? Write it down for yourself, short, specific, kind. Your RAS will start fetching that evidence as we wrap up here. And you'll notice that now that your body feels the logic and the relaxed abundance, that's when you can shift into receive. Okay. So receiving is about embodied outcomes. Okay. And embodiment is experiencing the future as the present. Harvard studies show that vividly imagining tasting a lemon can trigger salivation. Body follows mind. Okay. Marketers use this all the time for sensory priming. Athletes call it mental rehearsal. Neville Goddard calls it living in the wish fulfilled. And I love that. So quick sensory anchor to end things today. We're going to set up a sensory anchor so that you can come back to this. Somebody in the community asked me, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting who it was. It might have been you, Faith. I don't remember. Somebody asked me about how to get their frequency up again. It was you. Okay. Thank you for that. So this anchor that we're going to create right before we wrap up is a great way to do it. So pick one subtle cue you can do anywhere. And for those of you joining me in VIP, we're going to use this anchor again. It could be like a thumb to index finger pinch. It could be a hand on your heart, 2 fingers to like the center of your chest on your like sternum. It could be even like a finger to your temple, whatever. We're going to charge that up. We're going to reinforce it later. Okay. So as long as you know what you'll do, that's all that matters right now. And it just should be something that like wherever you are, it wouldn't be like a weird thing to do. So close your eyes if that's comfy for you, or soften your gaze, and we'll just kind of build this really quickly in a few layers. Okay. Visual layer. Okay. Rendering the scene is the first thing that we're going to do. So I want you to just see one vivid snapshot from your vision, whether that's, something marked paid in full, your spouse laughing with you because you're communicating better than ever, the names of you and your loved ones on airline tickets that you purchased, from abundance and overflow to your destination of choice, stepping into that sunlit kitchen, feeling pain-free, making a healthy meal. Lock it in like a screenshot, okay? Colors, light, details, lock it in. Then we're going to kind of turn up a little support on that, the auditory, okay? I want you to hear some kind of a confirming sound that goes along with your vision, whether it's that striped cha-ching sound, somebody's laughter, sounds associated with your travels, your own like steady breath even, the sounds of preparing a meal. Turn up the volume a click, turn it up. Then let's go kind of into a kinesthetic layer here. Locate that feeling. Notice where success lands in your body. Is it warmth in your chest? Is it length in your spine? Is it openness in your heart? Little something in your belly. As that sensation grows, press your cue. Whether it's that pinch or your heart or whatever you chose, press your cue for one slow breath and think, already mine. Add one more sensory pixel here, okay? Smell or taste as appropriate. For instance, maybe it's the smell of crisp money. We don't want the taste. Maybe it's your partner's cologne, perfume, something familiar, an enjoyed scent that accompanies them. Maybe it's ocean air, tarmac, celebratory, healthy choices. Maybe it's citrus or dark chocolate. As you notice it, press your cue again for one slow breath. Let that feeling swell as you press the cue for the third time. Same thought, already mine. Beautiful. Y'all can gently open your eyes, okay? Now that cue stores the state you just created. So you can use it like this, okay? You can fire it, press the cue, plus a slow exhale, and silently think, already mine, just like we practiced, okay? You could use it in whatever the appropriate scenario is, depending on what you created. Maybe it's before you post to social media. Maybe it's before you hop on a sales call. Maybe it's before you have a difficult conversation, before you write, before you work out, before you plan an adventure. There's so many potential places to use a cue. Reinforce it. Run it for like 60 to 90 seconds, this mini rehearsal, and press the cue 3 times as you run the rehearsal. Maybe try it every morning for the next 3 to 7 days. As Joe Dispenza always says, neurons that fire together wire together. Okay, this is what's happening here. Name it so your brain files it. Okay, whether it's your cue for being a calm communicator or an abundance attractor, whatever you would call this cue, give it a name. Okay, ease and overflow, whatever it is. Okay, and then make sure you do not anchor a stressed state. Okay, if you're spun up, do a nice inhale and exhale, and then press the cue. All right. And over time, this becomes like a 5-second download into that relaxed abundance on demand. Okay. We got to wrap up. Thank you all for staying as long as you did. I'd love to hear in the chat, what's one thing that you love that you learned today, or something new that you learned that you feel like you're gonna carry it with you and is gonna be helpful for you. And I'm just gonna look through the chat and see what I might have missed. Also, and remember, if you want the details on the fall program while there's still availability, type interested in the chat. Me or my team will reach out to make sure you get those details. If you'd like to join VIP, Camille will drop that link in the chat one more time. And if there's space available, it will still allow you to purchase. And we're going to start that right now. And I apologize to any of you who, didn't have the time for this to go over, but thank you for staying. I hope that the extra time and the value of what we were able to create here was worth it to you. Karen said, really loved everything. Science behind the manifestation and speaking to my ADHD brain. Yeah. Laura, the questions and the statements. Thank you. Awesome. EFT tapping was a huge help and already mine, said Vicky. Beautiful. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate that. Faith said the questions that send my brain on a mission. Awesome. Yep. That's the point today. All right. So Camille, could you drop the VIP Zoom link in the chat so that anybody who is VIP here that doesn't have it handy can do it? Of course, if you have not purchased VIP, you won't get let into the Zoom room. But if you have, I'm going to go take a quick bathroom break. Does anybody know how many drinks I had during our Zoom? Three. Anybody other guess? Huh? All right. Noted, Karen. Thank you. I'll be sure to reach out. You're right, 3. Yes, I've got my iced coffee, my water, and my Spindrift. So that was today's trio. All right. Thank you, guys. If there's no imminent questions that need to be answered, I'm gonna jump. Again, I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'll start up the Zoom for VIPs in like 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will roll in there and get your specific visions created. So thank you all. This time lights me up. I hope it lit you up too, and I hope it gave you some valuable ways to look at your vision differently and to really get some amazing traction and results on everything that you're working on. Thanks for being here with me.